Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We have made it to Friday. Huge weekend ahead. We've got college football championships starting tonight. There's three games today, I think, and then the rest tomorrow. Obviously, a big NFL slate with kind of playoff pictures taking form. So we've got a lot to talk about. Brief recap of yesterday. I was right about everything except for one thing, and the one thing I was not right about, I was very wrong about, and that was Jaden Reed. But, yeah, I really have no explanation as to what that was. The guy did not he caught one pass and it got called back. So he had 0 catches for 0 yards. Absolute disaster for anyone that bet on Jaden Reed. Apologies. Apologies for, hyping him up yesterday. That was an utter disaster, but silver lining, I did have Packers plus 3.5. I did have the over, so both were good there. Both were good there. Um, yeah, Jaden Reed, just stone disaster. I also hit a nice little parlay which was Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown, Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown, Luka Doncic double-double. So that paid plus 400, and then I also ran the same thing with Luka triple-double instead of double-double. That hit as well for a nice 16-1. Anyone that watched the stream yesterday, I don't remember who asked, might have been Keaton, about NBA bets, and I said I liked Luka triple double at 7-1 against the Wizards. So that was good. So everything was really good yesterday. If Jaden Reed just did anything, it would have been like a monster day. But that was just an utter disaster. No hiding from it. That was one of my worst picks I've ever made. Jaden Reed, 0 catches for 0 yards. Put it on my tombstone. Also, Keaton, I don't think you're in here because I haven't seen you in chat, but shout out to you. Keaton gave a good pick out in chat yesterday. Which was Jahmyr Gibbs over receiving yards. I think his line was like 19.5, and he finished with 30. So, and I think you said 25 plus as well, plus money. So good pick from Keaton there. Oh, there you go. Keaton's is in here. Good pick yesterday, Jahmyr Gibbs. I should have just did that instead of the Jaden Reed nonsense that I put in. Guru, what are your thoughts on FanDuel to catch a pass promo? They do such a bad way explaining it. Yeah, what I don't even know what that is. I saw like the banner for it at the top of the app, but I don't even know what it is. I'll look it up later today. I don't know. I can't give a comment on it just because I don't know what it is, I guess. All right. So, like I said, big weekend. We're going to talk college football championships, and then we're going to talk NFL. I have the NFL Survivor Pool data space pulled up. I made a video last night about the best 3 games to watch this weekend, so we'll talk about that when we get there. We'll go through college first, though. I tweeted it this morning, but my biggest week of 2023 betting, December, I think it was like December 18th to the end of the year, 31 unit profit. I absolutely just dominated betting on bowl games last year. So obviously this weekend is not bowl games, but I think there's a huge, huge edge staying on top of who opts out. And if you're able to do that, I think you can have a lot of success betting on bowl games. So I'm going to be hitting those pretty hard. And I'm going to be hitting these games this weekend. I like a lot of spots. I like a lot of the favorites this weekend. I thought that coming into the week, I thought maybe there'd be some underdogs I like, but not really. I like a lot of the favorites. So we're going to talk about that. It's the first drive only. Oh, okay. So what? It's a profit boost for players to catch a pass on their first drive only. Does it have to be like a parlay or what? I mean, that's kind of weird, I guess. Speaking of that, I have some props I love for NFL this weekend as well. So we're going to talk about that. But all right, let's get in. First game tonight, UNLV. All these games are at 8 o'clock, which is stupid. First of all, why are there 3 college games tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern? Why are there not 2 at 8 and 1 at like 10:30? Like, what are we doing here? Why are they all at 8 o'clock? Can you not stagger it a little bit? Like, don't understand this. But UNLV, Boise State, Boise minus 4.5 right now. Pretty sure they host this as well. So it's like a home game for them. Totals 57.5. These teams played once earlier this season, and Boise got pretty lucky to win. I think they had like a interception deep in UNLV territory, which really helped them out. They only won the game 29-24. And you know, Ashton Genty is going to do what Ashton Genty does, but UNLV actually had some success against him. Like, he only averaged 3.9 yards per carry, 33 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown. That's holding him in check, right? Ashton Genty. That's not a great game for Ashton Genty. So, and the fact that you held him to under 4 yards per carry was good. I think Boise wins the game, but I mean, this is up to 4.5 now. If you got to like enough points, I'd probably consider UNLV because I think it's going to be a close game, like on the spread. I think Boise will win the game, but I'm not really looking to bet this game. I have question. I think UNLV is a better team, top to bottom. They just don't have Ashton Genty. So yeah, I mean, that's like the X factor here for me. Don't want to lay any points with Boise though. If you want to put them in a money line parlay, I think you could do that. But I think Boise wins the game, but not really going to trust them to cover. Just because I think UNLV is probably the better team overall. The next game, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is minus 4.5 here as well, and the total's 58.5. I think that this is also a game where the home team hosts. So I think this is at Jacksonville State as well. I'm not playing this game at all. The only thing I will note is, let me see here, actually. I thought I saw that Jacksonville State's quarterback was injured. So maybe you could wait until closer to the game. If he gets ruled out, you could bet the other side. But I don't think I saw an update. I saw he was hurt, but I didn't see an update. Let's see. Tyler Huff. Here's 7 hours ago from me. I can't, that's paywalled. I can't even read it. Okay, so these two teams played last week, and Western Kentucky won 19-17. Don't really put a ton of stock into that. Although this opened at Jacksonville State -1, and it's moved to -4.5, despite the fact that their quarterback might not play. I think that's interesting. So he got hurt in the third quarter of that game, did not return. I don't know. I don't know if this kid's going to play. I don't think you can lay a 4.5, like not knowing if their quarterback's going to play. So I would wait and see if you want to bet. Like, if you're one of those people, like, I'm going to bet every championship game or something. I mean, this game's really not on my board. But I would wait till close to kickoff, see if that kid's playing. If he's playing, maybe you could dabble on Jacksonville State. If he's not playing, maybe take the other side is how I would play it. But yeah, not super interested in that game. And then the other game tonight, Tulane Army. I like this game a lot. I think this is a fun game. I love Tulane here. So they're 5.5. They're -5.5 on FanDuel, and they're -4.5 everywhere else. If you can go grab a 4.5, that's what I would do. I like Tulane in this spot. I've been a big fan of Darian Mensah all season for Tulane, their quarterback. I think he's really good. He's really impressed me a lot. Now he plays, trying to think of something to compare it to. It's kind of like I don't it's like a I mean, he doesn't he tries to make plays hero ball a lot, I guess is how I would describe it. Like he's going to try and make a lot of plays. He doesn't run a ton cuz I was going to kind of comp like to like a Josh Allen just because Josh Allen tries to do everything, but he really doesn't have the rushing ability of a Josh Allen. He just plays hero ball. So Darian Mensah, he's got a lot of upside. He's got a lot of, he'll fall into a trap where he turns the ball over a lot, trying to make plays that he shouldn't make. But I think he's a really good quarterback. And I think that Tulane is just head and shoulders better than Army is at the end of the day. So I really like Tulane here. You can still get a 4.5 out there. I would take that. I mean, Tulane's got some pretty quality wins this year, given like their conference, right? Like they absolutely shredded Navy 35-0. Navy I don't really think is that good either, but still, that's a big win. They played competitive against Oklahoma. They played very competitive against Kansas State. They should have beat Kansas State, honestly. They lost on like the last play of the game there. They beat Louisiana, who I think is a good team early on in the season. So I really like Tulane here. I don't trust Army. They haven't played very many good teams. The only good team Army's really played is Notre Dame, and they got absolutely smoked. So I like Tulane. I think Tulane's better. -4.5 looks good to me. It's my favorite play tonight by far. There's like a hot button kind of take I've seen out there that Tulane's coach, John Sumrall, he's had success against service academies before. I don't really like care about that stuff. I guess like they did just play Navy, who's kind of a similar. So at least it's good that they saw like a similar offense just 2 weeks ago, and they beat them up 35-0. But I think Tulane is the best play on the board tonight for college. -4.5. It's my favorite play today. All right, moving on to tomorrow. And if you guys have any questions on anything, let me know. I'll address those. Moving on to tomorrow. 2 games in the 12 o'clock window. We'll start off with Ohio and Miami of Ohio for the MAC championship. I like Miami of Ohio in this one. Foolishly, so coming into last week, there was a game between, let me pull it up here. There was a game between Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio to go to this championship game. Foolishly bet against Miami of Ohio. They had won 6 in a row coming into that game, and now they've won 7 in a row because they won this game. So I think they're kind of rolling. They were supposed to be, arguably the best team in the MAC coming into the season. They started off slow, but they've been absolutely cooking ever since then. I don't think Ohio is very good personally. I think this should be a wider gap in terms of the line. Like right now, Miami of Ohio -1.5. You can get like a -122 out there on the money line. I think this should at least be like a field goal, in my opinion. I think that Miami of Ohio is head and shoulders above the team, above Ohio, especially with how Brett Gabbard's been playing. Like if you look at last week, had a couple turnovers, but 3 passing touchdowns. He's played really, really well. If you go back to their game before that against Ball State, 255, 211 and 2. So I don't know. With Gabbard back, I like Miami of Ohio. I think they're significantly better than Ohio. Next game for the Big 12. This has playoff implications. Winner will be in the college football playoff. Iowa State versus Arizona State. Completely insane that this is the Big 12 championship game. I'm sure nobody predicted that before the season. If you predicted this to be the Big 12 title before the season, please provide me with a timestamp. Because this is just insane. There's literally just no way anyone thought this would be the matchup. I like Arizona State here. They've kind of been, I don't want to say lucky, but I mean they've been getting by on some close wins. Last week they just ripped apart Arizona. I mean, just absolutely, absolutely dominated them. But if you look at their games before that, like close win over BYU, close win over UCF, close win over Kansas State. The score does not tell the story there. Like Kansas State, I don't know what they were doing. They got jumped on and then kind of came back. They were in that game in the second half, like easily could have came back. But I like Arizona State here. I think they're way better than Iowa State. I think they have the best player like on the field. Scatterboot, like Iowa State's bad against the run, and Scatterboot's just completely taken over games at points this week or this season. So I don't really see how Iowa State slows down Cam Scatterboot. So I'll be taking it Arizona State in this one. They're only minus 115 on the money line, so I wouldn't lay the spread. I would just take the money line there. But I like Arizona State over Iowa State. Georgia, Texas, I'm not betting this. If you guys remember, I had like a big play. I had a big play when these two teams played a couple, whatever that was, like a month or two ago. I had a big play on Texas. I had a parlay with Texas pending, and I was on track. I was smashing everything in the early window. Like we were on track for just a monster day. And then Texas just laid that complete egg against Georgia. So part of me wants to go back to the well and like rebet Texas because I was on them in the first one. And there's just no way that they play that bad again, right? Like it's pretty much impossible. But so coming into the week, I was like, man, I should bet Texas again. Like we should run it back, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to stay away from the game. I'm just going to watch it. If Texas wins this game, will I have FOMO that I did not bet on them? That's very likely. But I just don't think I can stomach betting on Quinn Ewers again in this spot and in it being a disaster. I don't know. I don't know. Someone in chat can tell me, should I go back to the well? I mean, that was like one of my biggest plays of the year. I was on Texas in that spot. And the fact that they're favored in this game like tells me I was on like the right side of that. Like they were at home. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't think I can do it again. I think I'm just going to sit it out. I'll come back to that one if you guys want to talk about it. But I think I'm sitting that game out. Should be a great game. Both teams are in, so don't really know about like the implications. Like I think Georgia's in even with the loss. Texas is in with a loss. So it really doesn't matter. But should be a good game nonetheless. Marshall and Louisiana. I love Louisiana. This is my favorite. I think this is my favorite play overall of the entire weekend. I think Tulane and Louisiana are my two favorites. I love Louisiana here. Minus 5.5, -5, whatever you can get it at. If it moves tomorrow, as long as it's under a touchdown, I think it's fine to bet. I don't think Marshall's very good. They should have lost last week to James Madison. Marshall should not be in this game. Louisiana's been fantastic all season. So, yeah, I'm taking Louisiana. It's my favorite play on the week. 5.5, 5, 6, whatever you can get it at, I think is fine. Really like Louisiana this week. Penn State, Oregon. I don't understand this line really. I think Oregon's like way better than Penn State, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'll bet this game, but definitely think Oregon wins. I don't really see. I mean, I just really don't see how Penn State has a ton of success here. I mean, Oregon's pretty much dominated everyone they've played this season. Like they had a slow game against Wisconsin, but I mean, there was some noise in that game. Like they still metrically were way ahead of Wisconsin in that game. That was like the one game that they played kind of slow. I mean, they handled Ohio State. Ohio State, they only won by 1 point, but I think that they handily won that game. I don't know. I mean, Penn State should have multiple losses, in my opinion. Like, they probably should have lost to USC. They probably should have lost to Minnesota last week. I mean, they have like the problem with Penn State is they have no offensive weapons other than Warren. So when it gets into like a big game and there's points being scored, it's just hard for them against against a good defense. It's hard for them to manufacture points when their like only playmaker on offense is Warren, right? Like the offensive line is like average, so the running backs can struggle at times against good teams, and they just have no playmakers at receiver like whatsoever. So I just don't really see how they can score with Oregon here. I think Gabriel will have a fine game. So I mean, I definitely lean to the Oregon side of this game. I don't think I'm going to bet it, but I think Oregon is much better than Penn State. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get proven wrong there. I know I got some Penn State fans that watch me, so I'm not trying to like offend you guys, but maybe Penn State will prove me wrong. We'll see. And then last game of the night tomorrow, Clemson SMU. I love SMU here. I've loved SMU all season. I think I have a ticket on them somewhere like 10-1 for them to make the playoff from before the season. I think they're a very good team. I think they're a very good offense. I don't think Clemson is good. I have not thought Clemson's good all season. I don't think Clemson should be in this game. I think they're lucky to be playing here. And yeah, I'll take SMU in this one. So how I would rank the games in terms of bets that I like, I would say number 1 for me clearly is Louisiana over Marshall. Number 2, I would say is Tulane over Army if you can get that 4.5. Number 3 is Arizona State over Iowa State. And then number 4, I'll say SMU, but maybe we do an Oregon, Louisiana, like money line parlay or something along those lines. But yeah, I'll go Louisiana, Tulane, Arizona State, SMU in that order for the college bets. All right, let's move on to NFL. I made a TikTok yesterday, like I said, some big games this weekend. Arizona, Seattle. This is huge for NFC West kind of who wins implications. So we have that game. Kirk Cousins going back to Minnesota is a big game. Atlanta's firmly in the NFC South divisional race as well. So, this isn't a divisional game, but they need to stack wins, especially when Tampa's playing the Raiders this week. So should be a win there. Detroit, Green Bay was a fantastic game last night. Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's not in the playoff race, but they've been scoring points with Winston. So, I mean, we saw what Russell Wilson just did against Cincy. That should be a pretty fun game. Chiefs, Chargers on Sunday night is a good game as well. So, a lot of good games this weekend. Rams, Bills is a good game too. So, there's some good games this week. Some props that I like early. First of all, let's talk about how insane it is. Saquon Barkley's rushing prop this week's like 130 yards, which is just nutty against the Panthers. Alvin Kamara's is really high as well because Taysom Hill's out and they really have nothing else going on offense. So I'm pretty sure I saw his was around like 115 too. So some pretty high lines there for those guys. Saquon, I mean, I don't see how he doesn't smash here. Carolina's been pretty much the worst run defense for the entire season. He should have a pretty big game. But, I mean, like, the Eagles are minus 900 on FanDuel on the money line. Not doing anything with that. You could maybe do, like, a same-game parlay with Saquon. But even then, it's not. It's just not going to pay well. Let's see here. Oh, wait. His line's only 107 on FanDuel. I would take the over on that, to be honest with you. I swear I thought I saw someone say his line. I mean, I didn't check. I didn't fact check this, but I swear I thought someone say his line was like 130. I like the over 107 just regardless for Saquon. But if you want to do like, 100 yards, what does 100 yards and a touchdown pay? Yeah, it's like it's crazy. Saquon, 100 yards and a touchdown, even odds. Pretty crazy. But I mean, I do like it. He should have a big game. I love Mike Evans this week. So, okay, first and foremost, Bucky Irving, I don't know if he's going to play in this game. So if you guys saw the clip after the game last week, so Bucky Irving left the game last week, came back in, and he could like barely walk after the game. He had that massage gun. He had that wrap on his hip. This is a game they're going to win. It's not a divisional game. I would not be shocked if he misses this week. So that's going to loosen up the running back situation there. Rashad White and Sean Tucker. I would be interested. I know he fumbled on the goal line a few weeks ago, but I would be interested in some Sean Tucker touchdown odds. And I love Mike Evans. So I don't really buy into narratives a ton, but one of the ones that I'm buying into is like everyone knows about Mike Evans' 1,000-yard streak. They want to help him get that. He needs to average like 100 yards a game basically over these last 5 weeks. He had one like 15 last week, which was a good game for him. I love him this week over receiving yards. I expect him, to get fed. You can ladder him up to 100. I think I looked last night when I was prepping for the stream. I think he's like 3-1 for 100 yards on DraftKings. I love it. Love Mike Evans this week. And I'll be looking at Sean Tucker touchdown stuff if Bucky Irving misses the game. I also love Trey McBride this week. So like I said, this is a huge game. Cardinals, Seahawks. Trey McBride, like everyone's been talking about how he hasn't scored a touchdown this year. He has like one touchdown. It was that fumble recovery in the end zone. So, I mean, if you guys know anything about DFS or me, this is spots that we've targeted for like my entire time doing content, right? Like we look for guys that get a ton of targets and red zone usage and they've got unlucky with touchdowns. That's going to correct at some point. And hopefully it's this weekend. So he was around 2-1 for a touchdown, Trey McBride. Seattle is kind of bad against tight ends anyway, so it's a good matchup for him. I love his yardage. I love touchdown, first touchdown, whatever you want to do with Trey McBride this week. I love the spot. Let me pull up his I don't really care about his like historical stats against Seattle, but I'm just curious. Seattle's like been a bad team against tight ends recently. So he just played them. Yeah, in their last game on the November 24th, he had 12 for 133. And then last year in January, he had 3 for 34, but he did score a touchdown. I don't know. I love Trey McBride this week. Over receiving yards, touchdown, first touchdown, all that stuff. Yeah, Guru, the late buys are a killer for fantasy. I mean, this is a make or break weekend for people to get in the playoffs. And they have like no Bo Nix, no Cortland Sutton, no Jonathan Taylor, no Anthony Richardson. Definitely a killer for sure. That's unfortunate. If you can squeak in though, man, dude, the Broncos get the Bengals championship weekend, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that is just the nut of nut spots. You can't top that. I think you can go back to another same game parlay with the Browns. I mean, once again, Jameis Winston, 200 yards, get a couple of his receivers. Elijah Moore, if he plays 40 yards, and then, David Njoku 40 yards. Like you're getting plus 170 on these Browns same game parlays. So I think you can go back to that. What did I say? Mike Evans, I love. Trey McBride, I love. Saquon. I think that's about it. Yeah. Overall, thank you guys for watching. Won't be live tomorrow, but I will be live Sunday, so you guys can check that out. I'll have 2 blog posts up on Rolling Insights later today, so go check those out as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck with your bets this week, with your fantasy teams. Hopefully you guys can get in the playoffs. Big weekend ahead, so hopefully we make some money. And yeah, I'll see everybody on Monday.